Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for watching. And it's finally here, Leviathan, the most talked about release of the year, 10th edition, and this is the starter box. Not a set I was actually going to buy, but I did get it yesterday, picked it up at my friendly local gaming store, and I actually waited a whole evening before unboxing it, partly because I was out last night, and partly because I wanted to kind of do a little bit more work on my current project, and this has been an interruption to it, so just off the side there, currently at the moment painting some converted eliminators. That's a standard eliminator, and I've taken the parts from that and kit bashed them up on some infiltrators to some conversions and put a post on Instagram sort of saying, you know, halfway through a project and I know I've started another shiny one. I'm going to try and not let this get in the way until I finish that project, but why did I buy it then, I suppose, if I don't want it to get in the way? I had intended to not get this set, and the idea was I think they've done such a good job of rules and data sheets and all those kind of things. I was just going to pick up the rulebook when it came out and carry on my current project, because I'm currently doing, as you've seen there, the Dark Angel Imperial Fist kit bash. So I just printed out the data sheets and the rules and some lamination and literally printed out my own individual army, and I was going to buy the rulebook next week, but saw the set and let's be honest, it's amazing. So we'll dig into it and we'll have a look. It's the first time I've seen this kit, obviously just opening it now, but I've had a play with the gaming store sets. Lovely piece of artwork again. I am, and I've said it before on some of these unboxings, I'm a real big fan of them doing this kind of fantastic artwork. You could bang a frame around this, hang it up, and it would really go nicely in your game room or your bedroom or however you do it, and you know, what kind of hobbyist you are, but that's a great piece of artwork. And we are set with mountains of plastic. Now I'm going to rush through this. I don't want this to be a huge in-depth, hour-long video. And I think there's plenty of that online if you want to have a look at that, by people that have been sent these sets, days and hours before release. I'm definitely not one of those. I'm not that kind of influencer with enough clout to get a free box. So I'll just talk you through my first thoughts as I'm going. I'm quite excited by these Tyranid models. Not done a Tyranid army for quite a few years, but I did have a big Tyranid force, and it was really having the Carnifex or Screamer Killer, whatever we call it now, put into my hands that I gave in store where they built it up, not painted it yet, that made me go, wow, actually, why not? So here we have, is this the Carnifex sprue? No, this is one of the newer character sprues. You're going to have to forgive me, I am not going to get the names correct because I've not really paid a great deal of attention, but even if you don't plan on building Tyranids, I am a big Death Guard player. The amount of gribbly legs and bits and horns and spikes and things, you could do some amazing Death Guard conversions of those. Not going to though, this is going to be a Tyranid army. Wow, got some of the size of the castings on this. And I mentioned this in a recent video and short actually about the quality of the larger plastic castings that Games Workshop's putting out. Superb, right, happy with that. The new Dreadnought. Now, this was quite an interesting one actually, this Ballistus is it called? Probably get the names wrong. But it very much looks like the very original old school las cannon missile launcher Dreadnought. And again, interesting posed. We've got some Tyranid gribblies on the base there, which I think is really interesting and seems to be linking the two sort of sides together. There is so much plastic in this kit, there is no way I'm going to be able to get this back in the box. Excellent. Now this would indicate to me that the Librarian Terminator, this is obviously going to be sold separately at some point because they've popped it onto one sprue, obviously learning from the mistakes from some of the older box sets where they've mixed the characters up. Very nice. This is actually the principal reason why I've picked this box set up. I am going to do a Terminator force because, the real scale Terminators, I'm probably going to build one and just show you at the end of the video. They are superb, and it's about time we got proper scale. So I'll stick them over this side, put the Marines over here. Lots of Primaris. Again, this is obviously going to be a separately sold unit. Ideally, if you're doing your Salamanders, that kind of thing, Flamers. Again, lovely kit. These are push fit by the looks of this. Yeah, push fit single pose, but again, the sculpting, the moulding on the bodies in there. Fantastic. Now, lots and lots of gaunts. Thing. We're not making a very exciting video here. I'm literally just looking at plastic and getting excited for the first time looking at things myself. Now, these are the new, are they Von Ryan's Leapers, they're calling them? Obviously a slight variant of the lictors and things we've seen before. No, these are the things we're looking for. Now, straight away, I can already see that these are substantially bigger than the original Terminators. I've held or built one in my hands, and they are a sort of proper scale, so I'll put one of these together and look at the end of the video. So I suppose my plans, let's discuss that while we talk. Discuss my plans. That's an interesting one. So this must be a box set exclusive, I would imagine, because we've got a Tyranid and a Space Marine model mixed on the same sprue. It'd be very unusual to sell these separately, because they'd have to break the sprue in two when they print it, and you know, a lot of wastage. You don't want, you know, if you don't want the Tyranid Prime piece. So that's an interesting one, and maybe that's the option to pull you into this box set. Not sure. Maybe someone knows that whether that is the case or not. But anyway, yeah, plans for the box set. So I am going to do the Tyranids, probably more of as a speed paint, see how fast I can get them done. Just an interesting little side project, because I've got a number of projects on the go, and this box set again did pull me into and away from those main projects. The Space Marines, I'm definitely taking the Terminator variants, and I will be using those in a separate army, so watch forward to that. I'm going to go back to an old chapter that I've not done for an awfully long time, and then I'm going to take the Primaris Apothecary. It's not called Apothecary, he's called something else, isn't he? I did print that sheet out. I'm going to take him, and he's going to go into my current, if you've seen them, Fists of Caliban Force, because they're all in Gravis armour. I think that Apothecary fits quite well. And then the rest of the Marines I haven't really got a plan for, so I'll have to have a ponder as to whether they're going to go on a new project or just tag onto the side. Now, I do like these kind of add-ons, so I've always been a fan of these little sculpts where you'll have, you know, a weapon hanging off a pack, or a different variant of a weapon, or it's sort of slight personalisation. You have the Lieutenant here with, he's got Tyranid parts, bits of armour and trophies. Adds far more character than you get with the typical Primaris, which I think is, you know, a bit of a win. And I am loving all the bases with the Tyranid parts all over them, so definitely good. And these are some of the variant Tyranids. I really like that the fact we've got some different scale Tyranids. I think these are some sort of guard unit for the Neurothropy type thing, and that's probably, again, using completely the wrong words for NIDs. Again, I hadn't planned on getting this army, so you can see how ill-prepared I am for talking about what these models are, because my mind has been completely nowhere near Tyranids, which just shows you the quality of the box set. So another dividing line, and again, good idea because it stops the box and things getting damaged. And interesting, in this set they've done just a generic Warhammer one, because I think in some previous sets you've had the same piece of artwork duplicated, so probably a good shift. And then we're into the book, so I think let's clear some things out of the way and dig into the book and the cards that's in here. So a massive chunky rule book. Throw that on the floor over there somewhere. Now that's a bag of bases. Excellent. And mission cards. See, I very nearly pre-ordered these yesterday because I saw it on the pre-order mission cards. Then I had to go and check what the actual contents of this box were to see if we've got them, because I've made that mistake before with the Ashways box. I think I ordered the mission cards separately a week later, not knowing they're in the book, and because it was a 2-week order period, similar with this, I hadn't actually really seen the contents, other than it's lots of shiny toys, and it's, yeah, a rule book, so we'll look at that in a second as well. And save the world or consume it. Play a game with a Leviathan box set, report your result, and help decide the fate of a pivotal planet. Interesting. Just a way of engaging, I suppose, but people. So we'll get the plastic back in this box set, and we'll have a quick flick through the rule book. I'll let you go on your way and enjoy your day. Right, so the rule book. I think a brilliant thing about this release that Games Workshop have done is make this available online. So not only have they made the indexes, which, you know, printed out here, the cards and the unit cards available online, which I think is a fantastic idea, a really sort of welcome shift from how Games Workshop will do it a lot of times. They won't generally give you much for free, but I think it's been amazing. And it did mean we could read the rules, you could check out what's coming out, but I still think a physical rulebook is a brilliant thing to have, and I was always intending on buying just the rulebook. Went for Leviathan, as I said, because it really got fished in with the models, and sometimes that excitement takes over, like we know. But I'm glad I've picked it up. Really nice kind of build guide here. I'm sure there's about to be a few mistakes in here. There always are. Did I get any of the names right? I'm not telling you what they're called, we're doing, but they are, again, beautiful models. And you get a lot of models in here. A lot of models in here. So, you know, we've got the completed Tyranid Force there. Some really inspirational artwork. So, yes, again, bought the rulebook because it's always nice to have a physical manifestation of that. I'm not a big fan of digital rules, although it was nice to read them through before getting it, to give yourself an idea of what you're getting into. Now, I'm not going to make any real judgments until I've played a couple of games, because yes, anytime there's change, there's going to be a lot of noise out there about, oh, it's terrible, it's a disaster. I think really until you've played a few games, I don't know. Now, I have looked at the rules for the armies that I'm using, particularly Death Guard and the Marines at the moment, and yes, there's some changes in there that I think initially look a bit odd, but we'll wait and see. Now, this is a huge book for what is actually quite a small set of rules. We're not going to have pages and pages of rules in here, because you can see 6 to 13 is about the hobby, then it's the setting, Dark Imperium 20 to 75, 76 to 199 is background, then we start hitting the core rules, which, you know, I think you can tell that because the download you could get and print out wasn't exactly that large, but I like the fact that there's a couple of 100 pages of fluff. So clearly I'm not going to go through everything. Oh, lovely artwork. But I think it's important to get this kind of thing because it really settles you into what's currently going on in the 41st millennium. Because obviously every time they bring a box set out, they slightly advance the setting and the background and kind of what's going on in the universes. So I will at some point sit and read these. I also, as a complete side point, finally picked Dark Imperium boxes when I picked this up. So I picked up some of the Dark Imperium books, which I know technically really were last edition, and I probably should have got around to reading these prior, but you know, I wanted some reading material, and someone had said I flicked through the store copy of those books, and it does say, as we just saw there, Dark Imperium. So I thought, do you know what, spurred me to buy the books. Maybe I'll learn a bit more about the background. Look at that, Chaos Knight slicing through that. And some artwork very evocative of the original kind of John Blanchy styles. Tells you all about the Imperium, and it again is from the Imperium perspective, all the rule books, they always are. I'm not going to go through every single page of this because we would be here all day, but just to show a really, really nice rule book, and this is what you miss when you get a free, you know, downloadable set. So we'll skim through. Now I'm going to skim through very quickly, but I'm going to flick through all these pages. Weirdly, I'm just making sure these are all in English, and I say that because some of the original copies I've seen knocking out there, there's been some faulty ones that were sent out to you know, the original stores as their sample copies, and some things there where it suddenly goes to German halfway through. So I'm just going to make sure mine's not a victim of this. Oh, look at that. Thousand Sons is never an army I've never actually done. I've painted 1 or 2 Thousand Sons Marines, but never done a full army. So you never know, maybe 10th. Oh, and these are the boys we're after. So the Death Guard, my biggest current army. If you've watched the channel, you know over the last couple of years, really Death Guard have featured quite frequently. Not an army I planned to get so big, but it has. I've done Sisters of Battle, I've done Necrons, Marines, there's a few other Theses, Imperial Guard over it, but the Death Guard have stayed probably the largest army. And some really nice artwork there. Wow, there is going to be a lot of reading in here. A lot. Superb. Actually, a very, very nice book. And then we hit the core rules, as we said, page 199 we should be on roughly now. Doesn't actually say, does it? There's no page numbers down there. So again, nothing different in here than what should be online, I wouldn't imagine. And interestingly, they go back to numbering the core rules, page 5, page 6. So it's an interesting way of doing it. Now, it is a very simple rule system. If you've played 9th edition, the vast majority of this will be similar. I noticed in when I was reading the electronic versions, a couple of the pieces around Deep Strike, how Terminators come on board in first turn now. Maybe start thinking about Terminators a little bit more. The change of vehicle rules, so actually how transport units work, is a game changer for me because I've not really done Rhinos recently. Used to use Rhinos a lot, going back in 5th and 6th and even earlier editions, you know, moving troops, dismounting them. How that works has completely changed because now you can disembark after your transport moves. So I will absolutely be building a couple of Rhinos for my Death Guard just to really explore that different dynamic of how the rules work. Some slight changes to shooting. We know this one and some other pieces. Again, this is not going to be a this is the rules because, you know, we'll be here forever, and lots of very good channels have done very similar. I am absolutely sure. People in with a few of my mates have been saying, watch this video, I'll explain the rules to you. And if I'm entirely honest, I've watched a few minutes of each one and just thought, I'll make my own mind up. So, but a very nice laid out rule set. And what will be exciting for new people getting into the game system, or old people, is learning a brand new system. Kind of puts you all on a level playing field, and you all get to discover things as you go. Now, terrain features, I found terrain a little bit odd in 9th edition, and actually some of these terrain things in here are still a little bit odd, but it's more about getting used to it, I think, at the moment. But I do quite like how the ruins work. I've got a ruined battlefield board myself that I've done a bit of dismantling of in preparation for 10th. Very nice. We need to get around to buying that piece of terrain. I really do. Really nice terrain piece. Aircraft, now these have dramatically changed. If you've watched anything to do with my Death Guard, you'll know that I do like using aircraft for them, particularly my Death Guard, but I've got one of the interceptors and things ready for my Space Marines. I actually think it's a good change to these aircraft rules because aircraft were a little bit overpowered, I think, in 9th edition when you use them the wrong way. Getting your army together, brilliant. I love it. You know, complete character full, you can go bonkers, and then some missions, fantastic. And combat patrol, a really good idea to play some small battles, and from what I gathered, I've only very, very briefly understood it, but it's all about using literally the combat patrol boxes that you can buy, small armies, fairly balanced to get yourself together. Excellent. And this is more background stories. That is a very nice book without going through every last piece and reading every last bit of artwork. So far this looks great. Wow, tons and tons of background. Going to be here for a while. Here till 11th edition trying to read all this. Showcase, so this is going to be ideas of all different armies. Wow, very, very nice. Some superbly painted miniatures in here. Very different to my style in a lot of cases, because my style, obviously if you watch the channel, is very grim, dark, gritty, battered up. Crusade rules. Never ever played the Crusade in previous editions. Looked interesting. Said it a few times a few of the guys we probably should do, just never actually got around to it. And then, oh yeah, lots more Crusade rules. Tyrannic War. Interesting. Crusade. More Crusade. Wow, what a massive, massive add-on to the back. That's impressive. Do you know what? If you're into your Crusades, that's amazing. The amount of stuff they've given you in this book. Okay, great book. I am going to read through that more, obviously, learn those properly and really get into what is going on. Let's have a quick flick through the mission cards. As far as I know, this is just literally ways of setting your battlefield up and how you're going to decide on your mission. That was my work phone ringing, so someone's grabbed me by accident at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Thank you very much, whoever that was. I'll check in a minute. Very nice. So, without shuffling these up, we have various deployment options. Gambits, attacker and defender. Various mission rules. Minefield. In this mission, each time an advance roll 6 is made for unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Excellent. I do like little weird add-ons like that. Secondary missions. And a little how you play a game. Oh, I like that, yes. I was about to say that's what's missing from this box set, actually, like a one-page sheet with how to play, which is odd because that's what they've put that in the last couple of box sets we bought, whether that's been a Horus Heresy box or whether it's been the Necromunda set. So it's odd that they haven't had here's how to, a rough way to play the game, so it's nice that it's in there. And then some objective markers. So they've done these, what, 40mm? Oh, 40mm. Let's grab a model that's on a 40mm base. Yep, 40mm objective markers, which means actually we can make some personalised objective markers if we've got some little 40mm bases and you can bash them up, and that is something I do quite like to do with different armies, as you've probably seen if you watch the channel. So really nice little mission deck, not too many deployment options, so that's good, keeping it fairly simple, which I do like. And the back of the cards I imagine will match up to, yeah, the different decks. So nice. So I think good box set. I'm going to quickly build a Tyranid, a Terminator, just because that's what I really want to see, the proper scaling, because it's different seeing it in a shop in your own house, and then we will probably leave it at that. Okay, so I've built a Terminator, and I will say a very easy build, took 5 minutes maybe, something like that. So push fit. Drawbacks to push fit is obviously you're going to have the same pose if you do multiple squads. Advantages, super quick to build, and I must say this model is gorgeous. Got to build the rest obviously, but yeah, the thing that got me excited about the set was definitely these Terminators, and that's probably swung me into buying them. That and the rulebook, of course. But that's a beautiful model. Let's do a size comparison next to a heavy intercessor, and the Terminator is bigger. It's about time. Absolutely beautiful, and I would say these are some of the best models I have seen in years. Very nostalgic, but also a good fit. I'm going to do some conversion work on this, not too much, going to be fairly subtle, moving it into what used to be my largest army. So if you've heard me talk before, you'll know what that is, but in case I change my mind, I won't promise what I'm going to make them into, but coming soon on the channel, although I'm going to finish some of my current projects first before we see these. So yes, I think that's me done. That waffle over, that wasn't an overly informative video. Can't help. Let's put him next to an RTB01. Look at that for a size difference. Imagine how 10-year-old me head would have exploded if I'd have seen that model, because I was excited enough about these ones at the time. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, hope you'd enjoy that. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, and I will see you on another video.